Okay, welcome to series number 3, play number 1. I'm down by 7 now after he just scored that touchdown. I have the ball on my 16 with the 1st and 10, obviously. So we're going to look at what I'm running here. I'm running a sweep play. Now we're going to talk about in-game to real life here, just so we get full teaching purposes for anybody, especially young kids that are playing football in high school and want to know more about their offense if you run a wing tee or any kind of offense that runs buck sweep at all. So we're going to go ahead and look at this real quick. In this game, the way the sweep is run, you should get a double team here or a base block right there. Actually, I think in this game it's usually going to base block it, and then you get the guard pulling out, finding somebody to block, fullback leading the way, finding somebody to block, and then base blocks all across the board. I think he should work next level. Same thing with him here, and then you get the sweep, and off the sweep fake you have the bootleg. Now, as I mentioned, this is a sweep out of the far set. This is also run out of the wing tee, which means you have a wing back right about here. A lot of people will motion their Z into the wing and crack back on the end or outside backer. When you're running this play, it's part of a trinity. All right, so 3 plays, and it's kind of the holy trinity. It's one of the original great offenses of football in general from way back when. It's kind of a version of the single wing in a sense. So in this case, running the sweep, your other 2 plays coming off that, and I've mentioned it before, is either a dive or a trap. And so you have the sweep fake here, and then the bootleg. All right, and there's 2 ways to run the trap. We're going to talk about the trap a little bit now. Trap wise or dive wise, we'll start with that. Everybody just blocks the guy in front of them. Fullback just runs the hole that it's called, usually a 5 hole here, or 6 is, well, I name that 6. That's what we run in our system. That's usually where it's run. Trap wise is usually 4 hole in this case. Well, 4 here. So our numbering system, just so you know, is very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 8 being where a tight end would be if he was lined up to that side. So we'll go through this real quick. And with the trap, okay, there's 2 different kinds of trap. So you have an influence trap and a normal trap. With the normal trap, it's very simple. You're going to get a double team here. Your pulling guard, who's going to do the trapping. Rule for any trap is you trap the first man past the center, or you trap the outside technique, the 5 technique in this case, because he's outside shade. So what you would get here is a double team, and they'd work next level to that backer. Your tackle here would inside release to the linebacker. Tight end would also inside release to the linebacker in case the tackle missed it. Then he can work next level, block out on that safety, trapping the first man past the center. In this case, it's the defensive tackle here, or defensive end. Back is going to come up inside, take the handoff, and then he'll cut back across, as you can see there. You're still getting the sweep fake, and that's what's meant to hold this guy here. That should force him to stay, because he has to worry about that. All right. So now your quarterback's going to give it to the fullback, then fake it to the tailback, and then roll on a bootleg. And this cross action here is called cross buck. All right. Now that's the original way to run the trap, or the more conventional way. There is a second way, which is really, it's convention now. It's so old, it's part of convention. It's called an influence block or influence trap. So essentially, your guard here, instead of doubling down here, he's actually going to pull out, and he's going to block. Well, really, you could have him block this guy here if you want. So you could literally have him come across, block that guy. And what you're trying to do is influence. This is called an influence block. So you're trying to force this guy here to scrape over the top, essentially. Pull himself out of the play. And if the guard happens to have a tackle on him, you're trying to get him to flow with the play too. And by doing so, especially with that tackle, if he flows, or even if this tackle should see it and fights against it, or flows with it, once he sees that guard pulling, it makes an easier trap block for your pulling guard there. All right, so that's why it's called an influence. Everything else is pretty much blocked the same, except he's got a solo block, which is very difficult. Usually you don't want to run the influence unless you're seeing an even formation, even defense, which even basically means nobody is lined up over the center except for maybe a middle linebacker. So you have guys on the guards as opposed to the center. So that's basically the trap. So we're going to go ahead and run through this play now. Like I said, it's a sweep. So he's pulling out, should find somebody. He's leading the way, should find somebody. And everybody else is basically going to base block on the front side, at least backside. We might get some reach blocks here. Hopefully we do. And we pick off backside leakage. And then we get the sweep, and he still should go on his bootleg fake. Essentially, this is really a power sweep. It's run a lot like what you would see the Power O. That's very similar. Okay, that's where Power O kind of gets its name from, power sweep. Let's what else? Oh yeah, I'm going to mention the one thing. I'm going to motion this guy across. The reason I do that is I want to see what this guy does. If I can get him to carry all the way across the field, I'm just going to leave him there because that takes away one defender that I have to worry about, whether it be a missed block or whatever. If he should happen to squat here, then I'm going to go ahead and either bring him back to his original position here, or if I see it early enough to see that if I can see him squatting early enough before this guy gets to the tight end here, then I'll go ahead and snap the ball when he's in about a wingback position, and he'll either crack back on the defensive end or outside backer here, or just peel back and block on the corner. So let's go ahead and watch this, see what happens, and then we'll discuss. So he's carrying him, so I'm going ahead and letting him go. And going to run my sweep here. Now, before we even start the sweep, look at this space. This would have been good for me to call the dive. Like I said, Trinity is usually a trap, but in this game and in some offenses too, the dive is their Trinity play as opposed to the trap. In this case, there is nobody within two linemen here. These guys are all free. So really, we should get a boom, boom. He should get to the backer, kick out, lead up, and I get at least 5 yards, if not more. But I do have numbers to this side, especially with that guy gone now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 blockers to the strong side to their 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders. So I have numbers that way. I'm happy going that way. I have a guy for everybody. Now it's all up to execution. And we'll watch this, and everything looks good here. Well, not here, as you can see. 1, 2, and then Witten gets beat on the block as well. So that kills me. I can't really cut back. There's 1, 2, 3 here, ready for the cutback. So I got to try to bounce outside, which is kind of what you want to do in this version of the sweep anyways in the game. Normal sweep would actually be run right in about in here. This sweep is you're trying to get to the outside, get the edge. And in this case, I don't get it. As you can see, my guys don't block anybody, and they let the first guy through. And that just kills the play for a 3-yard loss. So for grading purposes, I'm giving myself a 0 as far as my player decision or how I play my responsibility, mainly because I missed the audible to the dive. I should have hit that. Like I said, I still had numbers here, so it's not a horrible decision. It was actually still just as good going this way. It was the execution that killed me, but I'll take the 0 just because of that, because of how much space is here. And as far as success of the play, obviously, there's no success. I got lost 3 yards on that play, but because it wasn't a loss of 10 or more, and obviously there's no positive bonuses in this, we're not giving any bonuses, so this is just a 0 score, or a score of 0.